Just as a note, among our door prizes today is a lifetime membership to the Gun Owners of America that they made available for us. So we have a couple of pistols and a couple other little items down here that all you got to do is just show up. As y'all know, we had a scholarship contest, and whoever wrote an essay and sent it in, we judged those essays. And we awarded a scholarship for $1,000. At this time, please welcome Miss Morgan White. She is the recipient of the $1,000 scholarship, and she is going to share with us her essay.
Okay. Hi, good morning. I just want to say how much of an honor and pleasure it is to be welcomed here, and that I won the scholarship. It's a big deal, and I just am glad I'm able to share my thoughts, and I hope that, you know, it stays true and does good, and God bless America. It is hard to imagine that almost 700 years ago, there was no such thing as a gun. In our society today, guns are such a consistent crutch that it would almost be impossible to survive without them. However, there are many who would care to argue that the use of firearms as a whole has corrupted our society and is the reason that unnecessary violence occurs today. Their stance is to take away and restrict most, if not all, the guns that most Americans use today. The issue that stands before them is that they are not seeing the overarching importance of allowing tax-paying Americans to purchase and own firearms. One of the basic reasons that guns hold a significant importance in our lives is protection. Throughout history, civilizations have used and cultivated many different ways to safeguard their own homes. From the basic sling and stone to the everyday .22 caliber pistol, any and every family unit and lone person needs some way to protect themselves. In our society, there are more technological advances that are allowing unjust individuals to take advantage of those who are seemingly weaker by comparison. The use of a firearm gives the weak the advantage and opportunity to gain the upper hand in the threatening situation. The notion of limiting a person's ability to own and carry a form of protection is essentially telling them they have no right to survive. While discussing rights, it is imperative to recognize the natural rights that Americans have to own a firearm. Our forefathers created our Constitution in order to ensure that the future generations would be able to live freely under the new government that still makes a lasting impression now. Through deep consideration, they saw that in the top 5 amendments of the Constitution, owning a firearm was especially important. It was thought of so highly that this right was put at number 2, directly under the right to speak. You know, if people were to take the time to really think about how significant the order of the amendments were actually put in, they might be more inclined to respect how much of a right owning a firearm truly is. On the other side of this, many argue that the Founding Fathers did not take the time to consider how much technology was going to advance, including weapons. It is unfathomable to suggest that the first leaders of our nation did not use common sense to understand that the country and government was going to advance. The point to be made is whether or not the fathers were thinking about the future, they created these rights for the intent to be a lasting impression of freedom that was fought for in the first place. Our country has been dealing with many shootings and gang violence for a long time, and it makes sense for the government to try to come up with solutions to lessen the percentage of this violence. The anti-gun movement is only going to continue to advance the danger and enforce fear of firearms, rather than focusing on the psychological issues of the person behind the gun. By implementing this fear, Americans are going to forget the importance of owning a firearm. This is going to lead to worse restrictions of purchasing guns, which will give a hand to those who wish to overtake those who are seemingly weaker. President Ronald Reagan once said, "We have problems in our country, and many are praying and waiting for God to do something." I just wonder if maybe God isn't waiting for us to do something. And while no one is capable of doing everything, everyone is capable of doing something. Unless those who know the truth are willing to stand up for our rights as tax-paying citizens, our people are going to remain in fear and nothing will change. Thank you.
Where's Morgan's dad at?
Right there.
There's your proud papa right there. This is the real deal right here. The real deal. Oh, he's a military guy too. No wonder. On the way up here, Paul and I were talking, one of the other board members was talking on the ham radio, and I said, Paul, I was way ahead of Paul. He hadn't even left work yet, just barely left work. And I said, Paul, stop by my house and pick up what I forgot. And he said, what'd you forget? I said, I don't know, but I know I forgot something. So he couldn't go by and pick it up, and I didn't remember what I forgot until I got up here and I got to going over my stuff. I forgot the certificates that we're going to give away today. They're laying on my desk. I will get you one, Morgan. And I said a while ago we gave a $1,000 scholarship. The self-defense fund guys over there, stand up and wave, guys. That's $500 of that was from them. They matched our $500 scholarship, and I didn't intend to leave them out, but I did. Morgan, it's with great pleasure. And I don't think you're going to come out of college being a communist, although some do. We love you. We thank you very much.